Newcastle at home. I don't know how to feel about that game. Like when the lineup came out, I thought we picked our best 11, and I would have taken a point before the game, if I'm being totally honest with you. Like if you'd asked me yesterday, I would have taken a point. But then when our lineup came out, and more specifically Newcastle's, they had Chris Wood up front, there was no Callum Wilson, there was no Matt Targett, there was no Bruno Gimenez, and it was like, okay, this feels like an opportunity here. We've got our best 11, they've got nowhere near their best 11. 3 or 4 key starters right for them, and it felt like, okay, like, this should be a chance for us. And then obviously we went 1-0 up, and you don't take anything less than 3 points then, but they get a goal and then they hit the post in the last minute. It feels like we kind of got away with one, kind of against Fulham, like when Jose Sarr saved the penalty. But yeah, I'm kind of in. Look, I think I wouldn't start freaking out over that game yet. I think Newcastle obviously are a decent side. I feel there were more positives in that game than there were in a lot of the others. But ultimately, that's another game where we still haven't got 1 XG in a game. And we did look a bit more threatening in certain aspects of the game, but it still wasn't, it wasn't wave after attack of attack. Even Newcastle, when in that first half, Newcastle barely did anything, even in the first 20 minutes of the second half. And I never felt like we were going to concede. And look, I've only watched their goal back once, but it was like a hoof clearance, and it's just a mad volley by Alistair Maximin. I'm not really going to slag off the defence too much for that. It's kind of just, it's a bit of luck. And I thought the decision to overrule Jimenez's goal was a bit mad. Personally, like, I get why the referees disallowed it, but if you think about it, in open play, the referee sees that push by Pedro Neto, and in open play, he looks at that and goes, "That's not enough for Ryan Fraser to go down." And then VAR look at it, and all of a sudden he's completely changed his mind. To me, that's a bit mad. Like, if that was the other way around, genuinely, let's say Pedro Neto got pushed by Ryan Fraser, I'd be saying, "Look, Pedro, you're a little bitch. How are you going down after that tiny little touch?" Do you know what I mean? I don't get how the referee has changed his whole thought process based on one replay when he saw it in real time. But look, even regardless of that, of course, Wolves should still see through the game. Even when it went to 1-1, we looked shaky. But I find it hard to blame the defence. I thought Nelson Semedo was our best player. Well, him and Ruben Neves, I guess. Collins was solid, apart from in that shaky start in the first 5. I thought Johnny was probably the worst of the bunch, but he was fine. Kilman was fine. And I thought, obviously, Ruben Neves was brilliant. And by the way, those people on Twitter that were telling me Ruben Neves wasn't a defensive midfielder, where are you? I want some apologies. Like, when João Palhinha was linked with us, the amount of people that were telling me, "Oh, we need a defensive midfielder. Ruben Neves isn't a defensive midfielder. He's a number 8. We need to play him further up." No, we don't. That's exactly his best position. I don't care what anyone says. But anyway, that's not the point. We did defend well in that game, and we've adjusted defensively to that 4 pretty well. And I don't really want to go in on them too much for the same Maximin goal, because again, I've only watched it once, but I don't really think that was a defensive error. I just think it was a bit unlucky, and it was just a 1 in a million kind of strike. But so I'm not really going to go in on the defence. The defence has been fine this season. I don't think it's really been an issue. The issue is the midfield and going forward. And look, there's a lot of reasons why it would flop, in the sense that, Raul Jimenez has just come back. I don't think he was as bad as some people were making out on Twitter. He didn't have a great game. I thought Guedes was probably the pick of the bunch. I'm surprised he got took off Guedes. Guedes has always had pretty bad defensive numbers, but I thought he pressed really well. Neto was okay. I thought they looked better when Guedes went over to the left and Neto went over to the right. Personally, I think that looks a bit more natural. We played inverted wings the whole of last season. It just feels like he's decided to bin that off all of a sudden. I thought Moutinho had a good game. I thought Nunez was actually pretty poor, to be honest, especially in the second half. The amount of times we countered and he had the ball and made wrong decisions. Look, I know he's just played 3 back-to-back 90 minutes in a week, and it'll take time. But I think that was probably his. I thought he was worse than he was against Tottenham, personally. But I'm not going to go in on him or anything. But I just and by the way, the Fabian Schär red card was never a red card. Obviously, not overturned. It got checked and it wasn't given rightly so. But I don't really know how to feel. I haven't really checked Twitter yet. I don't really know what the general reaction is from the fan base, but I thought there were still positives. I think the defence. Look, we're not going to get relegated. I'm sure there'll be some of that on Twitter. The defence is fine. Jose Sarr's a good start to the season after that Leeds blip. Neves was great. Moutinho was great. I'm sure Nunez will adapt, and then that front 3 should click, especially when Kalajic comes in. But it is a bit concerning how we've played 4 Premier League games now against different levels of opposition. We've still not put up 1 expected goal, and I never really felt like we were going to score either. Albeit, I still don't think the Jimenez one should have been disallowed, but that's kind of the look you get sometimes, and you have to deal with it. But yeah, disappointing. But I'm not really going to freak out yet. But this result puts so much pressure on that Bournemouth game now, like so much. Big up Semedo as well. I forgot to say that. Big up Nelson Semedo. Semedo's really good. By far the best player at the club, best fullback at the club. But this result puts pressure on Bournemouth now. That Bournemouth game is fucking massive. If we don't win that game, and then you've got Southampton, Man City, Liverpool, that's a tough 3 games, man. I think we will beat Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth don't have the attacking threat Newcastle do. They don't have the defence Newcastle do. They've just come off a 9-0. I'm sure we'll be fine. I'm not really that concerned, but it is a bit of a worry. We don't really look like scoring yet. And Nunes has had a bit of a dodgy start, but I think we'll be fine. But it's just a bit disappointing. On most days we win that game, but it's Premier League, man. Deal with it. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and yeah,